welcome back to the channel. Since we are fully in the spooky season and Halloween is just a couple days away, I thought it would be fun to share my opinion on what it's like to be autistic around Halloween. Before I begin, remember that this is just my opinion as an individual. It in no way reflects the views of every autistic person. We are all individuals and experience the world differently, just like anybody else. And same with, just because I'm experiencing these things as an autistic person does not mean a non-autistic person doesn't also experience them. So let's begin. If you are new here, my name is Jessica. I am a late diagnosed autistic who was diagnosed earlier this year and have been spending the last 7 months unmasking and figuring out who I truly am and sharing it with you here on YouTube. So overall, I do not enjoy Halloween. It is probably my least favorite activity and holiday that we have. It's just something I have never enjoyed, even as a child. It was just something that made me uncomfortable, and I will explain why. The first thing I will talk about is trick-or-treating. As a child and teenager, and even as an adult, I hate trick-or-treating. I get so anxious and nervous going up to strangers, asking for candy, knocking on their door, not knowing what they're going to say to me, how I'm supposed to react. It's never been pleasant and I've never enjoyed it. The only reason that I did it is because I felt I had to and didn't want to say, no, I don't want to go, because I feel like I would have been forced to anyway. So I just went along with it, even though I really didn't enjoy it. Especially living in Oregon, it rains here a lot and we got a lot of rain, and I especially hated trick-or-treating in the rain. It was just awful. Okay, as an adult, I hate trick-or-treating. Not that I've gone out trick-or-treating, but I hate when trick-or-treaters come to our door and we have to pass out candy. I really don't enjoy this. I end up usually turning off all the lights, pretending I'm not home, and go hiding in the other room until I know it's safe to come out and no one's going to knock on our door. I do enjoy watching kids getting dressed up, and I love to see what costumes they come up with. But from a safe distance, like if I can somehow hide myself in a room and just watch them, which sounds creepy, but just kind of watch them from the street and see what they're doing, I'm okay with that. But if I have to answer the door, and still that interaction even with kids gives me anxiety of just not knowing what to say to them or what they're gonna say to me, or like, are they not gonna like our candy choices and get upset? Are they gonna take a whole handful and I have to say, no, only one? I hate all that. I would rather not do any of that. The other part of Halloween that I absolutely do not like as a child or an adult are costumes. When I did my autism assessment, my psychologist was saying that a lot of autistics are very creative, but we have to be given parameters of like kind of general rules or guidelines of how to be creative. And I feel like Halloween is a very broad subject as far as what your costumes could be, that I could never decide like a costume at all. So every year I was literally a witch. That's the only thing I could come up with. It was always like a black dress and a black hat, because I just never knew. Like, even though I was very creative, I just like drew a blank and like could not figure out what to wear. The other part of dressing up in costumes that I really dislike is being perceived by other people. I feel like I try so hard to mask not being different that putting on a costume that is unique or it draws attention that I don't necessarily want. I don't like people perceiving me. I don't like people watching me. I don't like people trying to interpret what I'm trying to be or what I'm trying to say through my costume. I don't like it. I would rather not stand out. Halloween decor. Since I am not a huge Halloween person, I tend to not decorate our house inside or outside with Halloween decorations. I prefer fall because it lasts through September through Thanksgiving, and I don't really like spooky things, so I typically don't decorate for Halloween specifically. And I also don't like to decorate the outside of the house for Halloween specifically because I don't want to give kids false impression that we're going to have candy, because like I've already said, I hate handing out candy, so I'd rather just pretend I'm not home. So yeah, that's why we don't really decorate around here. So the other thing that I really dislike around this time of year is carving pumpkins. I have never enjoyed it. It is both a sensory issue and a creative issue for me. Along the sensory issues, I really can't stand the smell of fresh pumpkins. I love the taste. I love pumpkin puree, but I hate the smell of opening a pumpkin and that pumpkin-y smell coming out. I also don't like putting my hands and scooping out the stringy bits and like the slimy bits. Like that just like grosses me out to no end. I dislike it completely. And on the creative side, I just, again, I feel like carving pumpkins, because I'm a perfectionist and they never ever turn out how I'm envisioning in my head, I just get super upset and angry that they look nothing like I wanted to, and they took like 2 or 3 hours just to get one pumpkin done. And I probably cut myself on those freaking knives because they're not very good. And I have a very strong dislike for carving pumpkins. My husband loves it, so he will carve them and I will watch him do it, but I will not participate. Even if we go to like our family's house and they're doing pumpkins with the kids, I will not participate. I will not help the kids. I will just sit and watch them do it. But yeah, I can't do it. Even painting pumpkins is hard because, again, the creativity thing of figuring out what to do with them, and then they never turn out how I want them to, that I just get very upset and like want to just throw it away. I also have similar feelings for painting Easter eggs at Easter and doing gingerbread houses and cookies at Christmas. Same thing, it's that perfectionism and not getting it to be exactly right or not knowing exactly what to do that I'd rather not do it at all. But those things don't have the sensory issues like pumpkin carving does. Like, that's the worst for me. I also really don't like any scary activities, like anything that causes adrenaline rush. Like, I don't like haunted houses or haunted corn mazes. I don't watch scary movies. And I feel like this is because for my whole life I've lived in a high state of anxiety that I already feel terrified all the time, that I'm not seeking out more of that. I'd rather avoid it. And I feel like those things, that feeling just sits with me like all night and through like the next day and sometimes like a week or so. Like, I can't get rid of that scary feeling, especially like scary movies. I don't like horror films because they impact me negatively for so long. So I try not to watch any of those. So even though there are several things that I really dislike about Halloween in this time of year, there are several things that I actually do enjoy. That includes watching some of our favorite Halloween spooky movies, including like Hocus Pocus. We watch that every year. Sleepy Hollow, Shaun of the Dead, Zombieland. Like, we have a set group of movies that we will watch every year. And I do enjoy like old films like Nosferatu, and I think our library has really great movies, so sometimes my husband will go down and get like really cool black and white films like Birds, or there's one like The Girl with No Face. That one was pretty cool and not so scary. And even though I don't enjoy putting up decorations, I do have one exception, and that's the trend lately of doing yard skeletons. We've done some really creative things in our yard 2 years ago, where each week I would do a different scene. I think we did them like gardening and then camping and a couple other things. But those were fun. It was a lot of work, so I haven't done it since then. Like this year, I think you saw last video, I just had like 2 sitting out in front of our garage, and that was it. That's all I'm going to do this year. And then I do have a few exceptions to dressing up for Halloween. I don't usually go to Halloween parties or dress up for Halloween, but our friend started this. It's called a supervillain convention a few years ago, where I think it was for his birthday, but we all dress as supervillains from either TV shows, movies, books, like pop culture. So, and that's been really fun because I have guidelines for like kind of parameters of what the Halloween costume is supposed to be. And so I can work with that more, knowing that there's like guidelines. So for supervillain convention, you all have to dress as a bad guy. So I've been the Wicked Witch of the West. I've been the Wicked Witch of the East. We've done like a family costume where my husband was Captain Hook, I was Shmi, and Charlotte was TikTok the crocodile. I think we've also done another family one where my husband was, let's see, no, I was the Big Bad Wolf, my husband was the grandma, and Charlotte was Little Red Riding Hood. So we do things like that, and that's been fun. And I feel a little bit more comfortable knowing like that friend group, and kind of I know what to expect from them and what they're going to dress up as. But it's still hard because I feel like people will want to engage either in conversation as if they were that character, or like try and get you to respond as the character you're dressed up as, and that's hard for me because I don't like role play. I don't like pretending I'm someone or something else, and it's really hard for me to like have that back and forth that they're looking for. So that's always been hard for me. And then my other dressing up exception is for like Harry Potter related events. Since that's my favorite fandom, I will make an exception. Like this is my Hufflepuff hat that I usually just wear to, and like my one witchy shirt that I have. So yeah, I will make an exception for Harry Potter. I think I did dress as Umbridge one time, so that kind of counts as both Harry Potter and supervillain, which was fun. And then the other thing I really look forward to every year, so my husband started making Hocus Pocus themed brownies where he decorated them as the book. And those were really cute and really delicious. This year he made one giant book. Usually it's like smaller squares, but he went all out this year. So, and sometimes I'll do like a little bit of inside decoration depending on how I feel around Hocus Pocus, because I have this great framed photo that my friend made for my birthday, and so that comes up, and then the brownies, and so it's kind of like when we have a movie night, I'll get that stuff out to kind of like make it feel more themed, but that's about it. So yeah, that is my take on Halloween as an autistic person. I'd love to know your guys' thoughts, if there's anything that you really can't stand or really look forward to this time of year. Please share them below. I'd love to find out what others in the community love or hate about this season. Whether you celebrate or not, I hope you have a wonderful Halloween season, and I will see you in the next video.